Stocks seesaw in a range as global uncertainties and domestic optimism tug in different directions. Financials and industrials show some strength, while consumer durables and FMCG drag today. Hindustan Unilever's numbers are in line and commentary upbeat, but a move to raise royalties sours sentiment. Sun Pharma too sulks after its big bet on Concert Pharma's drug promise. And Vedanta plans to sell its zinc international business to Hindustan Zinc for nearly $3 billion, even as it is set to receive 5,500 crore rupees as dividend from the latter. The stock gains even as Hindustan Zinc slides in trade. And Coforge rides up on strong order inflows and improved guidance. IndiaMart gains on good collections and revenue growth, but emphasis slips after its surprises with a decline in revenues quarter on quarter. Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnav tells CNBC-TV18 that conversion of government dues to equity won't infuse cash into Voda Idea. He hints that capital infusion by promoters may be needed for the telco to survive. Hi guys, good afternoon and welcome to Business Lunch. I'm Pavitra Parekh. Those are the top headlines that we're tracking as we get into this new show. There's lots going on, but for the market, it is yet another shaky day. We've seen volatility throughout this session. There you have it on your screen. For now, we've slipped back into the red. It's around a 15-point cut that we have on the Nifty, and we have broken below that 18,100 mark as well. So do keep your eye out on the market. What is holding up, however, are some of the banking names. So you have the Nifty Bank, which is still holding up with a gain of over 300 points. You have IndusInd Bank, which is the top gainer on the Nifty after its good set of earnings. So that stock up almost 2%. You have HDFC Bank, which is gaining yet again. By the way, for the week, HDFC Bank is up over 4%. HDFC also seeing similar gains right now. And a lot of the PSUs are also doing well. So whether it's a Power Grid, ONGC, you have something like a Coal India, a few of those names will come up, all of them doing quite well. So that's what's going on with the market action. On the downside, you have a lot of the consumption names. So something like an HUL is finding itself there. You have Nestle, Reliance ahead of its earnings this evening is also a little bit subdued. So that's what's happening on the downside. But this is a big week, right? And we have a lot of cues in terms of what's going to come through from now up until Monday. You have Reliance, which will post earnings in the evening. And then you have ICICI Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank, which go on Saturday. So that will be important to track as well. But let's kickstart the show now by addressing some specific stocks which are reacting to their numbers. HUL reported an inline set of third quarter numbers. The management too remains optimistic of growth in the future on the back of easing raw material prices as well as an improvement in demand. But the stock, however, is trading lower after the company announced that they will now be paying a higher royalty to Unilever. So Sanjeev Mehta, the MD and CEO at HUL, addressed the issue of higher royalties after the earnings release yesterday. So let's listen into that.
The last royalty increase and the service fees increase, all this took place in 2013. And during this period, 2013 to now, we have doubled our turnover and we improved our operating margin by nearly 1,000 pips. We have a symbiotic relationship with Unilever and we have access to great brands, we have access to great technology, product superiority. So these are of immense benefit to us, which enables us to create the competitive edge that we have in the market.
All right, that is the management of HUL, but this one continues to be the top loser on the Nifty. In fact, it has seen a further fall. So right now it's trading with a cut of almost 3.5%. That's HUL. One stock which is doing well, on the other hand, is IndusInd Bank. This one also after its earnings is trading with a good gain. And this is after the earnings release yesterday. So let's listen into what the management had to say on their outlook going forward.
We've always said that our ROAs will be in the range of 1.8 to 2.2%. And I think we are in that range. You should see that moving up gradually. And I think next year onwards, you should see us at 2% ROA. We've always said we will be in the range of 4.15 to 4.25. And we've always maintained our book is such that it rebalances itself. So there's a fixed rate book of 50% and there's a floating rate book of 50%. So I think if you look at that, I think we are naturally hedged as a book. And I think we will continue to see these margins even if the interest rates go down, because I think the fixed rate book will take over at that point of time. I think on the microfinance, like I said, I think it will take a quarter or more before it stabilizes. And we have been very upfront in taking our losses. And I think we even take losses at 60 DPD if we feel that there is no chance of recovery. And I believe that you should be prudent in microfinance in taking losses. And I think this will be the last quarter, and going forward, we should stabilize at what we've set. Having said that, our guidance has always been between 130 to 150 basis points of credit cost this quarter. This year, I think we should come within that range, plus minus 5 basis points. And next year onwards, we should be at 110 to 130 basis points.
All right, that is the management of IndusInd Bank. The street likes the sound of what they have to say, and also the earnings, of course, which is why it is one of the top gainers. But let's now talk about the big Q today, which is that Reliance will post its Q3 earnings, and we are going to watch out for that. That is going to be around 7:30, 8 o'clock today. So Sonal is here to tell us what to expect from the oils to chemical business. Sonal.
Well, oil to chemicals business in Q3 for Reliance Industries is expected to see an improvement. It will be driven on a low base, and EBITDA is expected to see an increase of 12% on a sequential basis, majorly led by their refining business. So this time around, refining margins are expected to see an increase of 14% on a sequential basis to come in at $16 per barrel, and this will be led by improvement in cracks. So middle distillates yields and also naphtha cracks, they have grown on a quarter-on-quarter basis globally as well. Low windfall tax is something that will aid earnings as well, because that is something that put pressure on earnings in the quarter gone by. Moving on, if we talk about the petchem business, that was weak last quarter, and weakness is expected to continue for two reasons. One, because there are capacity additions in China, and also globally there is a demand headwind as far as petchem segment is concerned. But if we look at the EBITDA, which declines on a sequential basis in the quarter gone by, this is expected to see an improvement. But let's talk about the petchem segment, because it did see a decline in the last quarter, expected to continue. But JP Morgan says that margins have likely bottomed out during this quarter, and they are expected to improve from Q4. So that is a positive commentary coming in. Moving on to their oil and gas business, the exploration and production business, that is where higher gas prices will aid earnings for this segment this time around and will drive EBITDA growth, which is expected to grow 46% on a sequential basis for the company because, of course, of higher gas prices. So this segment has been firing on all cylinders in last couple of quarters, and that is something which is expected to continue this time around as well. So overall, O2C and oil and gas, both of them expected to do well in this quarter.
All right, Sonal, thanks a lot for getting us all of those details on what is expected as far as Reliance's oil to chemical business goes. But Rima is also standing by to tell us what we can expect from Reliance Jio in Q3.
Expect a steady quarter from Reliance Jio this time, a revenue growth of 2.8% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. This will be driven by a price increase of 1.3% and some growth in the subscriber addition. Subscriber growth seen at 1.4, 1.5%. Now, talking about the subscriber addition, it should be an increase of about 6 million on a quarter-on-quarter basis. In the month of October, the company had added 1.4 million subscribers. Expect a pickup in the subscriber addition, totally coming up to about 6 million in the current quarter. But this will be lower compared to what we had seen in the prior quarter at 7.7 million, and the key reason for that is muted smartphone shipments. Pricing, or the average revenue per user, is also expected to increase and now almost coming to that 180 rupee mark. In fact, the ARPU for Reliance Jio has been steadily going up. EBITDA margins are likely to expand to 52.2%. That's the CNBC-TV18 poll, driven by a benefit of reduction in the spectrum usage charge. Profits, according to the poll, should be up 2.2%. Two key things to watch. One, the tariff increase has been delayed compared to market expectation, and of course, an IPO as well. Back to you.
All right, that is what we can expect from Reliance Jio this time around. Rima, thanks a lot for that. But let's now shift gears to the auto space. KTM, which operates in partnership with Bajaj Auto in India, has rolled out its millionth bike. My colleague Parikshit is in conversation with the CEO of Bajaj Auto, Mr. Rajiv Bajaj. So let's cut across to that conversation.
Yes, Bajaj Auto and KTM have launched the 1 millionth KTM from Bajaj Auto's Chakan plant, where we are currently. Both companies have pledged that the next 1 million will come much faster. With us right now is the Managing Director of Bajaj Auto, Rajiv Bajaj. Rajiv Bajaj, thank you very much for joining us. Give us a sense of how important has this partnership been for Bajaj Auto for where it is today?
Thank you, Parikshit. Yeah, it's a great day for us. You know, we started with KTM in 2007, so it's been 16 years. My mind goes back to what KTM was then and where Bajaj was then. KTM was a company that made about 65,000 motorcycles a year. And I think now they are closing in on 400,000 motorcycles a year. And a very large proportion of that have come out of this partnership, which means designed, developed, made and sold out of India. So that's how big this partnership has been for KTM. KTM has gone on, I would say, to a large measure on the virtue of this partnership to now become not just the largest motorcycle maker in Europe in the premium segment, but the #1 premium motorcycle maker in the world. So I think Stefan and team would agree that this partnership has been pivotal to building this success. From our point of view, the simple fact is that how many motorcycles did Bajaj sell in 2007 in the premium space, whether in India or globally? The answer is zero. And now over 16 years, it's 1 million motorcycles in the KTM brand, apart from whatever we do ourselves with Dominar, etc. So I think for both companies, it's been tremendous. And if you look at the other partnerships that it has motivated between other Indian makers and other global makers, imitation is the best form of flattery. So I think it's been well acknowledged.
Right. I would now like to ask you about the future of the partnership going forward. How many more products, or what are the kind of products that we will see through KTM, through Husqvarna in India this year, in the premium play, in bigger bikes, in electric mobility?
Well, actually, you've kind of answered the question. I'm obviously not at liberty to say anything very specific, but for sure, over the next 2 to 3 years, the entire current lineup of the KTMs here, that is the Duke, the RC, the Adventure, will all be very significantly upgraded. So there's lots of new stuff that's on the drawing board or in development right now. Secondly, as Stefan elaborated earlier today, he's open to the idea of bringing bigger KTMs to this market, and from this market to other markets in the world. So I think that looks very likely in the near term, I would say. Husqvarna, as the second important brand in the stable, is already here. Of course, it is several years behind KTM in the Indian market, so it is still taking time to build. But I have seen the new Husqvarnas, and they are absolutely beautiful. In fact, if I may say so, I like them more than I like the KTMs. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Recently, as you are aware, KTM has been involved with Gas, has acquired Gas, and is now involved with MV Agusta. So there are no specific plans right now for these two brands as far as Bajaj KTM is concerned. But who knows? This is all available to us and therefore to our customers. Finally, on electric mobility, it's no secret that we are working together to develop electric powertrains for the future. So really, we are working on all those aspects that you mentioned.
Right. We spoke to Stefan Pierer a short while back. He pointed out that this year, at least the second half, could be challenging because of the possibility of a mild recession in Europe. Exports for you have also seen a dip, and that's probably bringing down sales because of the global headwinds. How do you think this calendar year, the upcoming fiscal, is going to be for you?
Okay. So on exports, yes, let me put some numbers on that. Exports is about half of our business, so very significant for us. Typically, we were at 200,000 vehicles a month, motorcycles and three-wheelers put together. In recent months, it's more like 140,000. So, we are down about 30%, you could say. And it's not just us, that's across industry. If I may add a detail to that, we are particularly affected because two of our biggest markets, Nigeria for motorcycles and Egypt for three-wheelers, are hugely impacted. Nigeria is down more than half, and Egypt for the moment is not permitting the import of three-wheelers. So therefore that's taken a big hit. Having said that, if you look at the last quarter, that is the second quarter for which results were already declared in October, I think we recorded our highest revenues and our highest bottom line ever, if I'm not wrong. So we have managed to, compensate for this in other overseas markets and also out of the domestic market. Now, obviously, sitting here today, I'm not at liberty to comment on the third quarter results, but I'm very hopeful that, of course, every quarter cannot be a record quarter, but I'm very hopeful that due to a combination of things, in our control and some outside of our control. We will continue to put out some pretty good performance. When I say outside our control, just to finish this answer, I mean that, the Forex has played a very important role, obviously, in our bottom line. So sometimes I tell our people that the performance of Bajaj Auto depends less on its MD and more on the RBI governor.
Okay.
All right, that is the word coming in from the Bajaj Auto management talking about the partnership that they have with KTM. Also on the exports, they're saying, of course, they are seeing some kind of global headwinds and that pressure continues. It's down around 30% in terms of exports, but he is hopeful that things will pick up going forward and in Q3 as well. But with that, we are going to get into a short break now. You guys stay tuned because when we come back, we're going to bring you excerpts from our conversation with Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnav from the sidelines of the World Economic Forum underway in Davos. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18. Some of the IT names, by the way, are picking up quite well. By the way, for IT, it's already been quite a good week. So the index in itself already is up around 2.8%. This is versus the Nifty, which has seen a near 0.7% move for the week. And right now, you're seeing HCL Tech once again, is the top gainer in terms of the IT heavyweights. For the week, that one is up almost 3.7%. You have Wipro, which is at the high point of the day. And it is actually today a lot of the smaller IT companies which are doing very well. So the likes of Coforge after their earnings, you have something like a Persistent, Cyient, all of these also piling onto the gains that they've seen earlier in the week. So that's what's going on with the IT pack. But let's now bring you some exclusive commentary coming through from Davos. Shireen spoke to Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnav at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Let's listen in to what he had to tell us.
One of the vexed issues which continues to be on your table is the issue of Vodafone. And that has been on now after the government's approvals for the conversion of debt to equity. It's still waiting for a final decision on when that, if at all, and when it will go through. What's holding back that call at this point?
See, Voda needs capital. For capital to come in, capital has to come in either in form of equity capital or debt capital. Conversion is a non-cash transaction. Non-cash transaction is not going to bring capital. So what's important is that this is a very complex issue. I wouldn't like to comment more than this, but certainly we are engaged very closely with the current shareholders and make sure that there is enough capital is brought into the company so that it survives.
Capital from the promoters, you mean?
Yes.
All right, that is the word coming in from the Telecom Minister on Vodafone Idea, but we are going to get into a short break now. You don't go anywhere. There's lots more news and updates in just a bit. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Business Lunch, and Union Bank's numbers are flashing on your screen right now. The net profit has seen quite a good growth. It's come in at over 2,200 crores. This is versus what we had last year of around 1,080. So there's been quite a jump there. The asset quality also seems to have improved. It's at 7.9 versus 8.4 that we had last quarter. So the asset quality, there you have it on your screen. The stock has also spiked up quite a bit. And the NII growth, I think, was also flashing on your screen. It looks like it has been quite good. So we'll get back to Union Bank's numbers in just a bit. But in a proud moment for India, the list of the world's top 10 CEOs features a majority of Indian and Indian origin CEOs. And Reliance Industries chairman Mukesh Ambani has bagged the second spot on the Brand Finance's Brand Guardianship Index 2023. Ambani has moved into second position, overtaking Microsoft's Satya Nadella, who now sits in third place. So that is some good news coming in. But before we wind down on Business Lunch, here is some, some interesting visuals that will come up for you. Anant Ambani, who is the youngest son of Mukesh and Neeta Ambani, got formally engaged to Radhika Merchant in a traditional ceremony at the Ambani family residence. Top politicians as well as celebrities graced the occasion to bless the young couple.
Brought to you by Volkswagen Tiger.